Lagos. The most important thing, I'm in Westminster. I was in Westminster.
But Joseph, it's Voices from the Top. What we do on the station is simple. We talk about everything that concerns us, from politics to sport, to issues, life issues, societal issues also. Everything that is worth a conversation is what we bring on the radio. Voices from the Top. Last week was fun. I think we had the Commissioner of Information on the show. We had the NDLEA. Yes, Mr. Babafemi. That's the Director of Media and Advocacy for the NDLEA on the show. Yes, last week. It's taking the British economy to the wires. We understand, but it's just a once-in-a-lifetime event, and if not just this once, make they enjoy them or make they suffer.
At least people they queue.
My bros, they stay for London. He stays beside, not so far from Buckingham Palace, and he said he met a few people.
Which side they stay for that place? Is that adjacent my house?
He talks, say people that he saw some people around his workplace that they traveled all the way from America just to pay their last respect to the Queen, because the lady said all her life there's just been one Queen, and we understand son to the great beyond. Can you mention any name off your head of a man who will get so much respect?
In the late 90s, I know someone that go to the other side. Some people were even happy. Say, thank God the man don't come out. So, but you know, Queen have touched a lot of life. You understand? Positively. She touched a lot of life. So people are happy. And I think one thing I love with the Queen is it doesn't join the political dynamics in UK. In fact, look at the fight of Boris Johnson. The Queen, I don't know whether the Queen in any way say a word until when the British people see the back of Boris Johnson, and they brought this wonderful lady. Thank God the lady was able to at least shook hand with her before
she passed on.
She passed. She how do you call it? Joined the ancestor. If it is, the other that will tell her, if it is my own side, Benin, with nobody die. Those people up, they only join the ancestor, and I think it is still, for now, I think so one can dispute that with me. It's still the Benin that still respect culture. If you look at what is going on in UK, that is culture. Forget about people now. If it is some of our men of God who go there now, they will participate in all those. When they come here, they say our own is barbaric. Everything that they are doing there, the costume and everything, that is the British culture. If it is here, we will not respect our own.
Well, in 1997, precisely when Fela Nicola Kuti died, I think that's the only person that has allowed that people have turned out en masse to walk all the way from
different places. Yes,
Moshlashi here, because we used to live just on the side of Moshlashi Empire, and I saw people. They walked all the way to TBS, walked to Ikeja 7 hours just to bury one man in their thousands, and that's the only person I think has gotten the love of the people that much. I don't know if any of our leaders pass on to the great.
Let's leave that one there.
Except maybe they will just drop money. Maybe if
which money? And again, assuming it is here, some people would have gone to court now, say Queen Charles is not the right person. So the matter will go to Supreme Court self.
Well, let's talk politics in Nigeria. It's been a lot of traveling for some of the main candidates. I saw a video on the social media. I don't know if you would like to discuss it though. One of the leading presidential candidates was asked about climate change. And the man said that it's not any of our top priority at the moment. That I didn't even understand what climate change is. And I'm wondering if you are willing to lead a country of over 200 million people. I wonder how climate change will not be of importance. Because in the last
but I join him. I support him in that.
Why did you say so?
Why do I support him? Is what we're supposed to be discussing here is human being as climate change. Because we have human disaster, not natural disaster. We don't have earthquake here. We don't have tsunami here. We don't have hurricane here. But we have human hurricane that some of the policies, some of our action is causing us a lot of.
If me, I ask you, you know the presidential candidate to waiting be climate change. You don't understand that.
I understand climate change. If you want to ask me questions, assuming I'm one of the candidates, if you ask me issue about ASU, I will talk.
No, but Joseph, I see. I think no point intended. It's just about discussing issues, really. I feel if you're willing, if you're putting yourself in a position to lead us, issues as the farmers' elders crisis. What's caused the insecurity where they talk, say people they move their cows from point A to B? It's because the Lake Chad basin is dry.
Oh, don't forget that. Which Lake Chad?
In the last 10 years, what has been the major issue of the United Nations?
Yeah, we United Nations. They face hurricane. We they face hurricane.
Okay, make we know.
If you chop upon now, JD, and drop it at your backyard for Nigeria, the thing will germinate for your backyard.
But
You
person wey wan lead us suppose get idea. Shey you no suppose get idea.
Leave that matter.
One other presidential candidate was at the Chambers of Commerce in Lagos, and I think somebody said he dusted his 2007 agenda. Is now see that paper wey he get for 2007. Now he still display about, because some of the issues that he talked about privatizing and also working PPP for infrastructure. I think kudos to this administration, in quotes. Some of these arrangements are currently in the works. Do you think our leaders are not in tune with what is happening around us, or they are just redusting their books to try their luck again?
Maybe to me, some of the candidates, it was in 2019. He says something about the NNPC, and people want to crucify him.
Still saying the same thing.
No, now we don't even know. Is it NNPC Limited or NNPC? Some people say they have
NNPCL. That's what they're saying.
But right. the GGM is still the GGM.
No, but
still report to. They say it's no longer for federal government. It's now for the federation. How much your share in NNPC?
But Joseph, I agree. But also in the same vein, I saw a news. Since we are discussing some of the major issues from the papers, I saw a news where it is said that the Steve Oronsoye's report would eventually put
that one is distraction.
Into use.
Just ask all the agency to do their work.
But some people have continually mentioned that we have too many unfunctional agencies, and some of these agencies should be put for you should just. The MDAs, some of them, Ministry of something, Office of this. Say, I saw some of the reports say FRSC, some of these other bodies will become into one, VIU. They all become VIU. EFCC, ICPC, all becomes Ministry of Defense or thereabout.
That one is equally wrong. I'm sorry to put it that way. EFCC, the job of EFCC, DSS was part of police before. This DSS is not even DSS. Because our constitution does not even know DSS tomorrow. It's TSSS. It is them that are just forming. It is part of police. A road safety part of police. Why not all of them go back to police? You understand? See, tomorrow we still have an anti-fraud unit in the police, in police and the rest of them. So some of these, if you want to say they should collapse some of the structure, then they should make some state too. Some states are not viable. You understand? Some state, I know there was a time they say modulated salary. I'll be waiting. They will pay half.
No.
So some of those states they can go back to the old, maybe the old or your state. Look at Edo State. What's wrong with if they go back to the then Bender State, so that they can do the right thing? So if we want to talk of agency, let's merge some state together too. At the end of this, all of them go wrong.
And on Tuesday, the president was in Imo State. It's the third visit of the president to Imo State. He made some cogent point. I know people will disagree, but people cannot also fault what he said. So he said, according to him, Shady, look me. When we came into government, some local governments were held hostage by the Boko Haram. But as at now, he didn't say there are no security challenges. But as at now, we can't categorically see any local government is being under the watch of insurgents. Also, he did mention infrastructure. I think if there's anything he has continually bragged on, is the fact that his government has worked tremendously in terms of infrastructure. But many have also argued, and I saw the president's in Waka saw it pass Opus on you. So I read an article. They said Jubril.
But JD, I think what we would do is if that was the president's speech in Imo State, can we extend into school so that all students should be grading themselves? Just look at your cons, look at all the courses. Your lecturer will give you give yourself score so that you come out. Every student will pass. So to me, it is good that we say, okay, the president have done very well. And the president equally, thank God, people like you are among the elites that are not telling the people the good thing that the president. I'm not an elite. I'm still from the other side. So people like you need to be telling people what the good thing that the president is actually. But seriously, I think if you are the president talking of some local governments no longer under the hand of some criminal, the remaining people from the train blast, they are still there. nobody is discussing anything about them. And the man that have been happy, whether rightly or wrongly, the DSS are picking now for questioning. The DSS is not asking or saying, you know what, the remaining people want to make sure that they are out of the criminals. So to me, DSS, what in the first case, if DSS, police, military, if they are doing their work, this man no will get job. If there's no hostage, people are not who will he be negotiating for them to release it? So let us do our work. And DSS now come and say, please, people should not be talking. Why we no go talk? We must talk. You understand? If you do your work, I do my work, this guy will not get work. So to me, DSS, they do very well if you remove politics from it. No, the election is coming now. Before you know what is happening, they will come up with a lot of messages and the rest of. And sometimes when they give some job or they give some warning, is it JDU that will now go and do the work? So may God just help us.
Okay. Well, let's wait for further investigations from the DSS. Maybe in the
but what of those guys that are still under? Who is going to really help find out to get those guys out of the
maybe now one of the reasons why they arrest them, according to what they said, that some military fatigue, guns, dollars, and co were found in different apartments.
Did they show you the video?
See, don't get me wrong. I reported according to what maybe they would say talk. According to what the DSS said, not me.
What I would advise the if I were in their position, what I would do if this man can perform that way, I would first use him to get those our wonderful love, those people back to unite with their family. And I said, you know what, Oga, thank you for doing this. You help us to get this guy to their loved one. But you have some question that you need to. We just need to clarification from you. Now those guys now they are fit. Nobody is talking anything about how they will leave the hand of those criminals. Right, is that are you not saying that the step of DSS is a noble one?
Just say what have we missed? What have we missed? I think we've talked politics, we've talked security, and we don't want to talk about Lagos. Not yet.
No. Lagos never reach. The only thing say campaign is coming. What we just beg is let us discuss issues. Forget about the person that in wife is not performing well, or the person that failed exam in the school before. Talk if you are a spokesperson of any presidential candidate. Go and say the candidate. Don't go. If I'm a spokesperson of any of the political party, I can have a conversation without mentioning the other party. You understand? I will go there and say my candidate. I cannot be selling it. You know, for here, if we are discussing, if a particular brand give station money for you to do publicity, do you mention the other brand? Because when you are mentioning, you actually do publicity, whether you are calling them a bad name or people say, merely mentioning the name of that brand. People know that brand exists. You understand? So let them, they just need to be very smart.
Yeah, the campaign period. Article was in Oyo State. It was in Lagos also. They do am for when you come Lagos. They say the reception they very loud, but they do am for inside one event center.
Article is moving up and down because of Wiki now. So, but you know we have been advancing Wiki here that there's a time that when you demand something too much, before you know what's happening, you started fading away. So Wiki team should sit down and
sorry before we go on that break. Early this week, that Wiki and Amici, well, like it or like Mr. Wiki, but. Personal opinion, I should not have an opinion on this side, but in Yoruba they say the older you become, the more what's the word now? I'm trying to convert my Yoruba to English. I'm trying to put it into literal time, but the older you become, the more friendly you should use your language. I'll give you an example. So you remember Tinubu's colloquium where he mentioned the fact that by your Adebanjo say that then buy the house when they live for Lekki, say for Ram. So I saw a TV interview where Bode George was being interviewed by a certain television crew that Asiwaju said the house that Adebanjo lives in Lekki, say now you buy from. So Baba Bode George was saying, as Yoruba people, you get some things we didn't talk about public. It's also Asiwaju that said so, former governor of Osun State. Bisi Akonde. As Yoruba people, you get some things when they talk. Say na agbalagba they talk.
The issue there is this. Before you started throwing stone, you have to watch if some of these guys, some of these are wonderful people.
I heard that statement.
See, to me, Tinubu have paid his price. You understand? This man started his journey when everyone was busy with other things. This man had been building his political structure. A person that cast his political structure, and you did not even have a block. You are now complaining. When this man was doing all this, where were you? But he had opportunity to do a lot of things during OBJ period. OBJ will give him a blank check if he actually want to build some structure in Lagos. But he was busy with some other things. So, to me, whether you are Tinubu is doing this and doing that, the question is the opportunity that you have. What have you used it to achieve? He was a former naval officer. How many people?
Was an ex-governor?
Yes, he was an ex-governor. What is his own structure? Let him build his own structure instead of calling names. And some of those things you say them without be able to substantiate some of them.
Well, we don't try. We have a guest in the studio. Today we are not talking anything like politics.
Let's look at the brain.
Let's look at the brain. It's no doubt. According to the WHO, they say Nigerians are the most depressed in Africa. How true that is? How true is that? There are statistics to back that up. I saw a video on social media on Monday or Tuesday. A young lady who was trying to jump into the Third Mainland Bridge. Sad. We see videos of people who commit suicide, people who live well. There are people who also a smiling face. Me like this, I need money. Well, I need the face. Well, you don't go no. So we want to talk. Should all depression be linked to financial? Is it financial all the time? Is it mental? Is it the society that we live itself? Is there some form of?
Or is it spiritual?
Is it spiritual? Yeah, it's very much possible. All of this and many more will be discussed on today's edition of the show Voices from the Top on Mainland 98.3 FM.
When we come back, we'll let the cat
out of the bag.
Is it not let the person out of the cat?
Cats if you struggle now, get out to open bag. So we have to open the bag for the cat to come out. It is Voices from the Top. It's Mainland 98.3 FM. We are the sound of Lagos. Okay, I think Joseph, we can just do one more topic before we go on the break. I think there's a break at 7:30 where we have to play some ads. What other major thing happened this week?
You said yesterday was your birthday, no?
Yeah, that one don't pass now. IU must go. Will IU go?
Forget that. All those things. I blame Nigeria. You understand
for
it?
putting them in the news.
No. So now that they are fighting, why not move? If Nigeria want to punish someone, just look for one party that is not the IU must come, IU must go. Everybody just just move on. Just as another way, say ISWAP and Boko Haram fought and there's casualty. So if we are serious, if our security person, when you hear that ISWAP and Boko Haram, these are two enemies of the state, they are fighting, why our efforts not just go up and bombard everybody, clear everybody from that very place?
Maybe they know once, maybe soft target or all this, how they call this casualty, all these people who are in the wrong place at the wrong time. You never can tell. Yeah, I'm just saying. I know you be security expert now. No, how no?
The question: Who give the story that both of them are fighting?
They would have spies, don't they?
If they have spies, then our security personnel, the DSA, would have known that these people start their fight. Then all of them, you put them on.
So they've always been this conversation about the security architecture. What's the word now? Say we are re-strategizing or we are rebuilding or revamping the security architecture.
In the security world, only that one is equally wrong. America did not tell us all the strategy they used to kill Osama bin Laden. It is when they get that guy down, they now say we have gotten him. Our own, if police they come here, say I'm robber there, they will be blown Sarajevo shooting gun from Djibouti, telling the Amro, if you no come out, if we meet you there, you're on your own. So at the end of the day, the Amroba will leave. When now hear sometimes innocent people that are just hustling.
So you also agree that we need to invest heavily in security, intelligence?
No. The first thing we need to do is the communication process of our security is not it at all. It's not. You don't need to talk. But the IGP will say we are bought about how many sniper dog. We don't need all those information. What we need is there's no crime in the system. Finish. How you do it, the public did not need to. You don't need to be giving us detail.
Now results we want.
It's result that we look in the security world. the other day now you go see one Dibia. Do you tell anybody?
No. You work for me now. Now it's all the DC.
so
we can do
so
that
it's just
break
working
now.
for you.
We can do that break now. When we come back, we talk about depression. We'll also take calls on the show. It is Voices from the Top. My name is Jaydan. There's Joseph Folorunsho in the studios, and our guest is also waiting to be brought on the microphone.
We are brought out of the
he's
bag.
out of the bag. We'll be talking to him very shortly. Keep your dial stuck on the station.
Follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM, on Twitter at Mainland FM. We are the sound of Lagos.
Fall in love again. I cannot stand the rain. I cannot take it.
Follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM, on Twitter at Mainland FM. We are the sound of Lagos.
For a very long time, I was in a toxic relationship with my partner. I kept making excuses.
Follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM, on Twitter at Mainland FM. We are the
Not
sound
anymore,
of
because I
Lagos.
found the perfect partner. MTN Broadband. With its reliable and wide coverage, no more maybes, just goals.
Follow us
So,
on all our
hashtag
social
MTN
media
Broadband and I for
platforms
life,
on
hashtag
Instagram,
relationship
Facebook, and
goals.
YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM, on Twitter at Mainland FM. We are the sound of Lagos.
www.mtn.ng/broadband. MTN Broadband. Data that's got you covered.
Follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM, on Twitter at Mainland FM. We are the
Of course,
sound of
yes.
Lagos.
But arrangement is going on with Akview Investment Limited. I've made an initial deposit for a 3-bedroom bungalow at Treasure Island.
Follow us on all our social media platforms
Pay
on
initial
Instagram,
deposit of
Facebook, and
250,000
YouTube
naira
at
for 2-bedroom
Mainland
bungalow cars
98.3
at 2.5 million
FM,
naira,
on
or 1.5
Twitter
million naira
at
for 3-bedroom
Mainland
bungalow
FM.
cars at
We
1.5
are
million
the
naira,
sound
and
of
rent the balance for
Lagos.
12 months. For a plot of land which goes for only 1 million naira, pay initial deposit of 50,000 naira and spread the balance for 12 months. Akview
Follow
has
us
over
on
18
all our
estates spread
social
across.
media
Akview
platforms
Investment
on
Limited,
Instagram,
314 Ikorodu
Facebook,
Road,
and
Anthony
YouTube
Bus Stop,
at
Anthony,
Mainland
Lagos. Etios and dealers of
98.3
top
FM,
buildings,
on
First floor,
Twitter
Berger Bus
at
Stop,
Mainland
Ajah.
FM.
Telephone
We
002
are the
451
sound of Lagos.
2115 or 0806 063 9740. Email akviewinvestmentlimited@gmail.com. Website
Follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM, on Twitter at Mainland FM. We are the sound of
Being with you
Lagos.
is refreshing. Aquafina, my dearest paddy of life.
Follow us on
Just
all
like
our
Kate
social media
Henshaw,
platforms
everyone
on
needs a
Instagram,
paddy of
Facebook,
life.
and YouTube
So,
at
stay
Mainland
hydrated and
98.3
refresh
FM,
always
on
with
Twitter
Aquafina
at
Premium
Mainland
Drinking Water
FM.
from the
We
makers
are
of
the
Pepsi.
sound of Lagos.
Aquafina, your paddy of life.
Don't worry, Ma.
Follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM, on Twitter at Mainland FM. We are the sound of
For
Lagos.
tasty meals prepared with Sonia tomato mix. It's so good eating together.
Follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM, on Twitter at Mainland FM. We are the sound of Lagos.
Good times together. Never give up on you.
Follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM, on Twitter at Mainland FM. We are the sound of Lagos.
You can count on every day. Your paddy of life.
Follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM, on Twitter at Mainland FM. We are the sound of
Paddy of
Lagos.
life. So, stay hydrated and refreshed always with Aquafina Premium Drinking Water from the makers of
Follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM, on Twitter at Mainland FM.
I was in a
We
toxic
are
relationship with my
Sound of
partner. I
Lagos.
kept making excuses. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's the weather. Maybe I need to refresh. Maybe I should log out and log in
Follow
again.
us
Maybe I
on
need to go
all our
out
social
and
media
climb that tree.
platforms
And
on
maybe
Instagram,
it's just
Facebook,
bad.
and YouTube
But
at Mainland
not anymore, because I
98.3
found the
FM, on
perfect
Twitter
partner,
at
MTN
Mainland
Broadband.
FM.
With its
We
reliable
are
wide coverage,
Sound
no
of
more
Lagos.
maybes, just goals. So, hashtag MTN Broadband and I for life, hashtag relationship goals.
Follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM, on Twitter at Mainland FM. We are Sound of Lagos.
Covered.
Follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM, on Twitter at Mainland FM. We are Sound of Lagos.
My mommy worry free.
Follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM, on Twitter at Mainland FM. We are Sound of Lagos.
Fine, her face just dey shine. I don't know how she take the do herself. See you, make you sit down there. Me, I don't go do ogbonge account of this account.
Follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM, on Twitter at Mainland FM. We are Sound of Lagos.
All that many things then. When we say go take level up.
Glam Girls Cosmetics, professional makeup for all.
Follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM, on Twitter at Mainland FM. We are Sound of Lagos.
Only on 98.3 Mainland FM.
Follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM, on Twitter at Mainland FM. We are Sound of Lagos. Follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM, on Twitter at
Welcome back on the
Mainland
show. It is
FM.
Voices from the Top on Mainland 98.3 FM. Yes, exactly 36 minutes past 7 o'clock. It's about time we bring in our guest. He's in the studios already. Today on the show, we have a performance coach and the founder, Superior Performance Global Network, SPGN. Is a performance coach. That's someone who not only deals with performances but with mindset. Mr. Segun Odufuwa joins us on the show. Voices from the Top.
Why no put chief?
Okay, you know where red cap now. You know where red cap.
Well, I don't even know whether you commode the red cap for
So we have Chief Olusegun Odufuwa. He joins I and Joseph on Voices from the Top. Today we are talking the rising cases of depression in Nigeria. It's a sad topic, but it's only important that we bring this to the fore. According to some research, chronic depression affects about 20% of Nigerian head of households. According to the most recent of them, the Nigerian General Household Survey, precisely, it says indicators from agriculture, welfare, and other areas of life in Nigeria every once after 3 years. And the statistics link to an additional finding that nearly 2 out of 5 Nigerian respondents have been affected by at least one negative event, such as conflict or death of a household member, war, or poverty. It also stressed about the fact that emotional and adverse events can also lay credence to depression in anyone's life. May I ask you, what is depression itself? How do you know you're depressed?
Good evening, Lagos. Thank you for having me. First of all, like you asked, what is depression? Depression is a mood disorder that affects your daily life, that makes you lose interest in interesting activities, your daily activities. You feel very empty, you feel hopeless, you feel worthless, and as a result of that, it affects you critically, that how you feel, how you think, and how you behave at the end of the day. And if you don't nip it right there in the bud, it affects your physical well-being and as well your emotional well-being. So your functionality is it keeps depreciating each and every time, and at the end of the day, you just feel like committing suicide if you are not careful. So that is what depression is. It's just a mood disorder that if you don't take care of it at the early stage, it gets to that level that you just feel empty and you feel that life is not worth it anymore, and you just want to take it.
Okay, so is it nice to ask what triggers it?
No, suicide. That person won't kill himself now. Too. That our own people, you know, person go say blame I go end it.
Of course, that's it. Because at the end of the day, you just feel that life is not worth it anymore.
But what triggers depression? You've mentioned a few incidents. It's mood disorder.
Yes.
In the real sense of it.
Yes.
Should every young person? So there are some people now. Joseph will be able to testify to it. It's so lively. Good afternoon. When he's on his own, he's in Damaturu, but he's still sitting in front of you in the office here.
Yes.
Should we consider such people? Should we just say it is mood swing, or
Yes.
can we tag that as some form of depression?
No, you know, like I usually say that people use the word depression loosely.
Okay.
Yeah. So mood swing is normal. People can have mood swings, but when it begins to affect your daily activities, it begins to affect everything you do. On the normal day, okay, you're a radio presenter, you get up in the morning, you know, go online, do your research, you know, you go to work, you sleep at a particular time, you know, you understand your work ethics, there's a structure for you, and suddenly you're supposed to wake up maybe at a particular time, 7 a.m., you want to sleep till 10 a.m., you don't even feel. There's nothing inspiring you to wake up early, to do your job, your normal activities, your routine. You don't want to do it anymore. Now, if people are close around you, they begin to wonder that what is actually affecting that, because the JD we know, you know, has a particular routine that he follows. And, you know, once something is beginning to affect it and, you know, the routine is beginning to change, and not changing for better, or maybe you're doing something else, but you're, you know, losing interest in those activities, that people just need to understand that something is wrong somewhere. And there are lots of things that could trigger depression. There are lots of things that could trigger depression. You could talk about maybe health issues. Health issues could cause it. Loss of a very loved person. Emotional issues, relationship particularly. Financial issues. You could run into debt and you could fall into depression. You could be duped. You know, you could fall into depression. You know, a lot of things could come up. Marriages, you know, relationship between husband and wife, even couples, you know, even in the workplace, you could be gunning for a promotion, and suddenly you've put in all your energy, invested your emotions, you've put in a lot of hard work, and suddenly you don't get it, and you feel cheated, and you feel that, okay, this is absolutely wrong, and you feel that the company has not done well for you, even as much as you've invested so much in the company, put in a lot of hard work, and you feel if you are not able to have that emotional ability to be able to manage such situation, it could lead to depression, and you just begin to lose interest, you begin to withdraw. And you know, that's why a lot of people, you see that when they withdraw from social activities, is either they withdraw and go into substance abuse, or they just withdraw and they just become lonely at the end of the day. You know, you that you're an extrovert, you go out, you have friends, you know, you mingle with people, you just begin to withdraw yourself from social activities, and at the end of the day, if people are close to you and they really understand what is happening, they just need to start watching you to know what exactly the problem is. But the major thing that affects a lot of people is that we expect a lot. Our expectation is always high, whether in your relationship, whether in your workplace, in anything we do as human beings, we expect a whole lot. So because you've invested into a certain task or a project or anything, you feel that he who is dating a young guy who feels that, oh, I've done everything for this guy, you know, I've been there for him, and suddenly the guy doesn't get to marry her and marry somebody else. There's a certain expectation. Or you're a guy, you take care of a young lady, run her through school, pay her fees, do everything for her, and at the right time of marriage, she just follows somebody else, and you feel that you're slighted because you expect a whole lot. You understand? So the same way with a husband and wife relationship, there's an expectation from the husband, there's an expectation from the wife, And so once these expectations are not met, sometimes it leads to a lot of emotional difficulties. And if those emotional difficulties...
Two things. About couples of weeks now, somewhere in around Lamoshe in Oshodi Solo here, a lady poisoned herself just because he heard that the guy that is supposed to marry have married another person. Then second, the other one is you talk of expectation. I run a program in Unila supposed to finish everything by 2020. Yes. That's project.
Yes.
It is project that is still, but now I'll be expecting when the convocation is.
Yes.
It's not my fault, but ASU is on strike, and the lecturer say, well, until when ASU.
And it's 2022.
Yeah. And 2022. 2021 is it's a 9-month program.
Yes.
Not that I'm not willing to do the whole thing. ASU, just because of project. There are some people that are supposed to graduate year 4, only the last semester. They are still there now since 2020, occasioned by COVID-19 now. So how do you now tell that person to manage his expectation without going to serious?
Yeah, those are external forces, and which you cannot do without. And these are things that happen on a regular basis. And just for students who are at home, they had delay from COVID, they had delay from NSAS. Now ASU is on strike. This is another 7 months, and there's no light at the end of the tunnel. There's nothing showing that they're going to call off the strike.
They're in court now, sir.
Yeah, they're in court. Okay, now for those students, for instance, some expected that they would graduate maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and now they're still in school. And when you have expectations, the whole idea is more or less like, okay, for instance, look at the system in Nigeria, for instance, that if you're 25, you can hardly get a banking job. Once you're past 25, you might not be able to get a banking job, except the old generation banks. If you're talking of new generation banks, it's between 21 and 24. Now, for a student who is, maybe he was 20 or 22 in 2020, thinking he was going to graduate that year, and get the banking
study
job.
visa.
You understand? And because of external forces, challenges in the country, he's not be able. Now, are you telling me that he's going to be happy with himself? Because now, if he's going to graduate, he's going to be graduating at age 25. He's going to serve. He's 26. He applies for a job. They tell him to bring 5 years experience. No job anywhere. Whereas he already planned himself that, okay, with this pace I'm going, I should be able to be done by 23, and I'll still get my dream job. So for somebody like that, there's already an issue. And if that person is not careful, you can just see that he will divert that energy that was supposed to be diverted into something very legal and something very productive. He could divert it into something else, because an idle mind is devil's workshop, and once prolonged idleness can also paralyze initiative. If you are just idle for the past 1 year, 2 years, the energy, the inspiration, everything, the encouragement, the motivation you give yourself on a normal day, that okay, I'm almost close to the finish line, everything begins to wade off. And other external forces, if you don't have good friends, if you don't have good quality friends around you, they could begin to lure you into something else. And so at that point in time, the emotional stability is not there anymore. And once the emotional stability, you're not able to stabilize your emotions, you just realize that every Tom, Dick and Harry that comes close to you and tells you that this is the right thing, this is the right thing, okay, venture into this, you might not be able to choose the right option, and you might just fall into the wrong hands.
I would agree completely. Okay, so you mentioned something, heartbreak can be heartbreak, having issues in relationships, having expectations, financial expectations. So I have 2 examples. Yeah. I used to be a team lead in a fintech, finance, loan services, and there was a case of a young man. So as a team lead, one of our agents called me and said, oh, somebody called a certain customer and requested that he should pay back a loan. So he called the day before and he said, oh, the guy said he was going to pay back tomorrow, next tomorrow. I think the guy was owing so many people at the same time. So the next day, the agent brings the case to me and says, oh, team lead, this. I called the person. Somebody picks up the call and said, oh, did you people call this person yesterday? They said yes. That the guy committed suicide.
Wow.
Okay, so when I was going home, I think I was on Twitter. So everyone was saying, oh, this guy, jolly good fellow, how come? It's everybody's friend.
Yes.
And he was owing so much loan. And the next day, so when we called and somebody picks up, I'm his girlfriend, we're just going to bury him and we're going back home. And I'm like, so I just checked the name again. then I went back to Twitter. Wow. So the doctors. That was not what suicide. But it probably was owing many other people, and they were threatening him. You know, there were times these loan companies to send messages. Will send messages to your
the embarrassment,
and maybe he committed suicide. I also remember that at the time I was going through a heartbreak of some sort, and I could not sleep because he could think, say, what's wrong?
Yeah.
So I'm suffering from high blood pressure now because of accumulated lack of sleep.
Yes.
So. But in issues like this, who do we talk to? Because if you don't do one kind for our society, they're going to look you one kind. People are going through depressive stages to at least have somebody to lay their thoughts on.
Yes, it's very important. There are lots of people you could talk to. There are a lot of NGOs who are into mental health issues. But I think for me, if I'm going to advise, it starts from you yourself. You know, show me your friend and I'll tell you who you are. You need quality people around you. Quality people. If you have quality people around you, they're able to identify that, oh, this person is not the person we used to know. That means they know that something is wrong, and they will rally around you, and they're able to bring you out of that depression. But if you don't have quality people around you, it might be very difficult, because the thing about depression is that the first thing is to identify that this person is depressed. If nobody identifies that this person is depressed, nobody will know that. Nobody's going to help you. Because a lot of people who are depressed are even so ashamed to even talk about it. Some are, because there's a lot of stigmatization, there's a lot of discrimination, and there's a lot of lack of knowledge. You know, you tell somebody that, okay, I want to kill myself because I'm owing somebody 100,000 naira, or my girlfriend dumped me, and your friends are laughing at you that, are you okay?
See this thing where you just mentioned on my first Twitter feed. So a guy comes out and shows two different pictures. 2 years ago, when I got heartbroken and started using crystal meth, 2 years after, he's chubby. He stopped using drugs. So the NDA now they quoted that tweet and said, "Oh, great job, by the way. See, if you need further advice or something, reach out to us." If you see the comment section, because woman leave you, now you go begin to use drugs because this wow. And I'm wondering, no sense of humanity, no empathy, nothing.
That's what I'm saying.
No way. They are not thinking of how to help.
Exactly. They just say why woman go leave you? Go to use drugs.
So that's why a lot of people who are depressed will not be able to speak out, and that's why they will just rather keep quiet and just withdraw from social activities or from their friends and just be lonely. And it is that loneliness that kills. Because the more you're not telling anybody, you're keeping it to yourself, and you're not speaking out, and you begin to think about it day and night, it increases your blood pressure. You begin to have sleepless nights. You're not, insomnia sets in. You're not able to sleep well. You're not able to eat well. Loss of appetite. Then, if you're not careful, it leads to a physical condition that is deteriorating, and anything could happen. So, but if you have quality friends, people who understand a lot about all these things, people who care, people who don't want to just see you succeed, but they also want you to have quality lifestyle, that once they know that something is going wrong, they're able to rally around you. And because not people that you talk to and they just begin to shame you, begin to laugh at you and begin to look at you as not being man enough, and that is where a lot of people have this issue. Okay, for instance, let me give an example. When I have about few clients who their husbands rape them, they go through spousal rapes. But in our society, you can't go to a police station and report and say, my husband raped me.
I will love you.
Everybody will laugh at you. Like, didn't they pay your bride price? But it is happening in our society.
Every time.
Where husbands rape their wife. So the only thing you could go to the police and accuse your husband of is assault. But if you go there and say, my husband raped you,
even sometimes they beat you, say, what do you talk? You
exactly.
Talk.
So a lot of all these people will not want to speak out, and they will just die in silence.
But sure, there are some people, maybe we allow people to equally ask.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Calls have been coming in.
A quick one. There are sometimes that people that want to talk.
Yes.
Medical issue, you go and tell pastor. Financial issue, you go and tell, and the pastor instead of, okay, how do I meet an expert.
Yes.
To make
He said,
you
okay,
pray.
let us pray.
Yes.
Because I was in a class with a professor, Douglas Anele, on critical thinking.
It's philosophy.
Yeah, philosophy. He said a lot of people are killing themselves because if you don't know who, talk to the right person,
Of course.
you trigger the problem.
Yes, I used to have. I had a case about 3 years back, and the mother called me because the son was trying to commit suicide. He was about 35 at that year, that period. No, I think about 37, and he was going to commit suicide. And they took him to a pastor for deliverance. And so the mother called me and said, "My son, just help me. Pray for your friend." And I'm like, "Why? What happened to him?" They said he wanted to commit suicide. And I said, "So why did you take him to the pastor?" They said they are praying for him. And I said, "That's not evil spirit." And we were able to look at this issue. At 37, he had no job. His friends were married, had children. He was still single, and he was trying to compare his life with other people. And I used to tell people, you don't compare your chapter 1 with other people's chapter 20. So people do a lot of comparative analysis, and at the end of the day, you look at yourself that I'm missing out. I'm not, with his friends, and he wanted to just take his life because he felt he was worthless. That a lot of his friends had achieved way beyond that, more than him. And I told the mother that this issue was, let us first get him a job. We got him a job. When he got a job, he started getting salary. The first salary he got, he was able to buy clothes, buy few things for himself. The second month, he didn't think of committing suicide anymore because he already had.
No, if he say anything like he was able to go come over.
There's income, but at that point in time, there was nothing. He was still telling it. He wasn't asking, collecting money from his parents.
See, time is far spent, but we have to let you go soon. But if you're, what do we say to the person out there who is tuning into the radio? The country itself. There's a song by Femi Kuti titled "Scatter Your Head." Say both go slow, both woman, both cocaine, both financial wahala, but emotions can scatter your brain. When you're down and you're out and you need someone to talk to, what should you do on your own first before you even talk to other people?
Yes, first of all, you need to understand that life is never fair. It's something that you need to understand, that life is not fair. And because life is not fair, you know that the situation, there's always going to be dark patches, in that journey of life. And I used to say this, that when you fall down inside water, you don't drown. You only drown when you stay inside water when you fall. If you're able to pick yourself up and move out of it, then you don't drown. And there's this quote I usually use particularly and say, when we buy a Lipton tea, a tea bag is not valuable until it goes through hot water. So you know that life is tough itself. So there are going to be setbacks, there are going to be heartbreaks, but you need to just put yourself together and believe in the bigger picture, which is your own life and how you want to succeed and how you want to impact and add value to your society.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, Mr. Olusegun Odufuwa, performance coach, founder, Superior Performance Global Network.
As a psychologist.
As a psychologist also, yeah. You can check him out on social media.
Yes, SPGN_Nigeria on Instagram.
SPGN_Nigeria on Instagram. If you are depressed, if you need someone to talk to, slide into his DM. Maybe he's the perfect person. Yes.
Another thing we'll do is he's going to come back. I know it's yes or yes.
Yes.
Now you 419. Joseph, we have to go. What's your final word to the people out there?
No matter what, according to Lagwaja, no matter the condition, put
shine
a smile on your
face. Yes, so
it will be better. Make sure you stay out of trouble, and very soon Nigeria will be better. People queue from Japan, America to come and collect Nigeria visa.
Amen. I receive it. Just like my former boss will say, if you draw you into an ocean, what would you do? You swim. There's always a second chance there. My name is Jaydan. There's Joseph Olorunso. Segun Odufuwa is our guest for today. Voices from the Top is on the show. It's a show. On the other side of 8 o'clock, Kokoro is there. Mr. Password himself for Faji Friday. Keep your dial locked on Mainland 98.3 FM. We are the sound of Lagos.
Sound of Lagos.